Hello, everybody. Strong persons is what our topic is today. Is just signs of strong people, signs of people that are stronger than they generally have been in the past. All that kind of stuff. It's certainly an interesting factor to consider when we move forward in a good way as we continue to move forward. Just kind of looking at that from a new perspective. What makes a person strong? That's kind of what we're going to talk about in this particular audio. A couple of things to look at there. First is willingness to explore new ideas. And if you're looking to explore new ideas, we can certainly connect at PO Perception on Twitter and or in the About Me section of this YouTube page. Either one will give you value in your About Me. You can reach out through the About Me section of this YouTube page and or in the at PO Perception Twitter account. Either one will get you in concept with me. Now, exploring new ideas can be difficult for some people for a variety of reasons. Many times these individuals are not comfortable exploring these ideas because they're not the things that they would normally look at. But the willingness to explore, and exploring doesn't mean agreement, it just means understanding or beginning to understand those ideas, those concepts, looking at why they work for some people and may not work for others. The next is the willingness to learn new concepts, even when learning something new can be difficult, learning something new can be overwhelming, learning something new can ultimately be a major struggle, and knowing how to make those decisions based on connecting something known with the unknown and committing to the process of doing that is also super important for a variety of reasons. When we begin to understand that learning in that manner is the most important thing that any person can do, there also is the ability to know the value of connecting longer term with all situations in a meaningful and committed and connected manner. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to agree with everything you learn. It also doesn't mean you're going to have a passion for everything you learn, but the commitment to the learning process is the most important thing that begins to be of value in the long run. The next is live in the flow. So, expectation ultimately cuts people off from continual progress in a lot of situations. Expectation is something that a lot of people live through and live for and live about, but it isn't necessarily in their best interest to work in that manner or to be that type of person, expectorantly speaking. Now, does that necessarily mean a person is bad if they have high expectations? No. But it does mean that they're going to be less happy in a lot of cases, because the building of expectations can also lead to epic failures and disappointments at a level that most people have difficulty coping with. When a person doesn't have the proper coping skills and their expectations are not met, the challenges then become super out of balance. The next thing is the desire to control things is virtually eliminated. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have preferences in the way that things turn out for us. Certainly, we all have preferences. We all have ways that we wish professional and personal relationships would go, ways that we wish our finances would go. But the ability to be resilient as it relates to the connection of kind of working through things is important from a deeper level, and knowing how to continue to be in a stronger and more meaningful way is also important, and knowing how to do that in a manner that makes sense to you but also moves you forward into the willingness to let things go or release emotional expectation as often as possible, so that life becomes easier and healthier for a person to deal with, is also a super intelligent and smart and productive and progressive thing. So hopefully that becomes healthier and smarter as well for the average person. The next thing to look at is kind of looking at things from a more grateful aspect or grateful expectation. The expectation as it relates to gratitude, super important. Gratitude's one of those things that you need to be able to have in order to make a smart decision for yourself. Smart in terms of the ways at which things are continuing to move forward. Smart in terms of the ways at which people are continuing to look at the world, and also smart in terms of the manners at which people are, you know, kind of necessitating things, for lack of a better term. It doesn't necessarily mean you're always going to have the best of situations, but knowing how to connect, knowing how to be committed, knowing how to be focused, knowing how to be able to identify that which is needed from you, and also knowing how to identify the ways that people can be more aware of the things they can be grateful for or the things they may have taken for granted in the past. Taking things for granted is something virtually every person does here and there. It doesn't make you a bad person to do it, but it does necessarily and sometimes lead you to challenges as it relates to identifying the ways that we can kind of identify things that need change in our life, and our level of priority also must be factored in with whatever we're trying to accomplish. So hopefully this is helpful. I encourage you, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.